My name's Anuj Desai. I am a lawyer and a podcaster. Firstly, a lawyer for the last 15 years, and then the last couple of years I've hosted a weekly podcast on the European cannabis industry, which covers CBD, medical cannabis and hemp. I thought the best way to do that is just go out and learn and meet some people. And everyone wants to talk because it's so early, that I thought a podcast would be a good way. There were a few going on in North America, but no one was really doing it in Europe. Now there are a few more, but at the time I think I was one of the earlier ones, and it was fantastic. I got a great opportunity to meet some real thought leaders. Started off in the UK and in Europe, but now I'm interviewing people in North America quite regularly, and it's fascinating. And at the beginning I was worried that I'd probably just end up interviewing a lot of CBD entrepreneurs who were trying to sell their products, but actually the more I learn, the more I realise that how much more there is to learn, and it's a huge topic. It's a difficult one. Where do we draw the line between recreational and medical? I think certainly in Europe, and you see it in terms of how we're approaching it as opposed to North Americans, it's much more conservative, and there's a real fear around any kind of perceived enjoyment out of this plant or substance, and if it's remotely enjoyable, then that's recreational. It almost has to taste bad for it to be a medicine, I think is the vibe that I get from this, and I think it's a bit misleading, particularly now when we have things like anxiety and stresses, two of the major factors in our society that are causing illness. Our Western medical system is very based on a pharmaceutical model, and big pharmaceutical companies produce drugs at large expense, and they want a return on that investment. And so our model has been skewed towards this type of medication, and plant and cannabis-based medicines don't fit very well into that, which is quite difficult for those companies. And they have vast amounts of money which they spend on marketing and all of these kinds of things. And this is something that the cannabis industry currently doesn't have. I mean, effectively, it would be quite scary if you can grow your own medicine, right? Because effectively you could grow a plant, and then you could extract oils, you could vape it, you could make it into tinctures, you can make it into creams for topical application, and you could effectively grow something that will solve a lot of your problems, and no one's making any money out of that. And I mean, like it or not, we live in a very capitalist society, and that is generally how things get done. So this really challenges that in a number of ways, and I think that's probably a large part to do with how this thing is evolving and how it will evolve. Where are we now? I would say we're really early, and that keeps being brought home to me on a daily basis because I'm surrounded by it. But even in the US and in Canada, they're really early. I mean, in the US, it's legal to varying degrees in various states, but it's still federally illegal, which is a massive problem. And it's also Schedule 1 controlled substance, so it's at the same level as heroin and above crystal meth and cocaine. Crazily, and so look, there's lots to happen, and the difficulty is that everyone's doing it in a slightly different way. Every country is adopting a slightly different attitude, and what that causes is a lack of harmonisation. So those cause barriers between people sort of doing business together, and hopefully they're getting smoothed out. But there is there's quite a lot of work to do still. At the UN level, there's some issues in terms of how they're treating cannabis and even CBD, and there's lots of disagreements on how to approach these things. So I think there is definitely no consensus across the world in terms of how to deal with it, which is in turn making governments uncomfortable about making bold decisions. I mean, the Canadians, Trudeau made a very bold decision in deciding to legalise adult use cannabis, but they've experienced a lot of problems in how they've gone about that. And in a way, I kind of hope that they and California, who also legalised a few years ago, are sort of serving as lessons for everyone to look at and to see these things worked and these things didn't. And if I'm being optimistic, I hope that governments are looking at it and saying, well, let's see 2-3 years worth of data from those guys, see what works, and where we can kind of pick up from, and then they've got a model they can use, and it's easier to sell that into your electorate than making it completely from scratch.
My name is Sam Cannon and I am the founder of Beyond Green. On the 2nd and 3rd of December this year, the UN will vote on the World Health Organization's recommendation on the rescheduling of cannabis. This is a mammoth moment in time. Please like, comment and share these videos so that the truth can be told and that the planet and everybody on it can benefit from this truly, truly incredible plant once again. Thank you.